What's up, everybody? This is your boy Sylvester, aka Sly.
And this your boy Perry, aka Mr. Ambitious.
Hey, what's up, y'all? We missed y'all, man. Welcome back to the Purposeful Journey podcast, man. Hey, thank y'all for being on this journey with us. Life's gotten crazy, so you haven't heard from us in a little bit, but we back in action. We back in action, man, and we just blessed to be alive, man. And blessed to do this one more time. Hey, Barry, you had something on your heart, man. What's going on, man? What's up?
Yeah, this song that been weighing in on me all year, non-stop, all year long, man. And even last year and the year before last, I, I'm very surprised we hadn't even touched on this topic. But we're gonna talk about redemption.
Mm,
Let's talk about redemption for a minute. To redeem something is to claim something that you know was yours, but you feel like it got ripped from you. So there's a lot of things in life that we can say that we got stripped away from us because of, life be life and we know the Satan is always busy. But when we redeem ourselves and we claim that rights again, we claim the ownership again of what we desire and what our heart desires, then that's when we call it a redemption. We call it that as we call it our bounce back season. Because when you
mm.
redeem something, you bouncing back from it. You're recovering it. Fly what's on your mind.
Woo. Let me tell you something. It just brought up something. You've heard the saying, every setback is a setup for a major comeback. And it's your this is your story of redemption. This is your time to redeem yourself. This is your time to come back on the comeback because we all encounter setbacks. We all encounter just falling times. And then in those falling times, it's like what do we do? What do I do? I'm at a loss for words, or I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do, what the next step is. I don't know what if, what at, and you just start to have those thoughts, just doubts in your mind and stuff. But the crazy thing is the enemy is just planting those thoughts in your head, because the enemy wants you to have those doubts. Satan is the author of confusion, but God is the author and finisher of our faith. He don't try to confuse us. God wants us to be able to listen and he gives us the answers, but we got to listen. So when it comes to redemption, it's about, like you said, it's about how hard you bounce back. You got to bounce back from where you are. You got to bounce back from your faults and all that stuff like that because this is just a temporary stage and not a permanent residence. I'm going to say that again. This is just a
Yeah.
temporary stage and not a permanent residence. You're not there permanently. This is just a temporary heal. This is just a temporary speed bump on the road of life. You're going to deal with roadblocks, detours, U-turns, all that kind of stuff. Hey, you're going to deal with a train coming across the way. You have to be a little patient. But
Yup.
sometimes God's going to have those roadblocks in your life to show you how resilient you are. How are you able to bounce back from that? How are you able to fight through the pain, fight past the pain, to push past it, to push through it? How bad do you really want it? How bad do you want to get to the other side? How bad do you want to get to that light at the end of the tunnel, to that finish line that you see that's so close but yet so far? How bad do you really want it, man? I don't know. Some people don't want it as bad as they claim they do.
Oh, talk about it.
Whew.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, they always say that, they always say that, if you don't write it on paper, that it's only a wish. A plan that's not written down is only a wish.
Come on.
So, people are always talking about what they want to do in life, but we ain't got no type of execution. You know what I'm saying? When you redeem something, you got to execute. You just can't talk about it. You got to be about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you said about that train, yeah, you're gonna have a train that's probably gonna delay your timing. Matter of fact, sometimes it's gonna derail you. Let's talk about the train. Let's talk about the train track derailing for a second. You know what I'm saying? You might have to take an alternate route in your redemption phase, but the goal is to not give up. And one thing about it, two things for sure, and three things for certain. God don't like mediocrity. And a lot of people, when they try to redeem themselves, they redeeming themselves in a mediocre manner, and that's not how
Hmm.
we're supposed to move. You're supposed to move with strength, not
Come on.
mediocre, not mediocrity.
Boy, I'm tell you something, boy. Like you said, look, we aren't mediocre. We weren't born to be mediocre. We're born to be extraordinary, not just ordinary. Put the extra on ordinary. We're born to be extraordinary. So, and I like when you mentioned execution. because it brought up something that I said a few years ago. You can't expect to excel if you don't execute. Like you can't expect to excel if you don't execute. How can you want to excel at something if you don't execute it how it should be executed? Execution is key when it comes to the plans that God has for you. When it comes to the dreams that you want to come into fruition, you have to execute it. Let's say you have a game plan. Let's say you have let's say you're on the football team, whatever the case may be, right? And you're trying so hard. You're trying so hard to you're trying so hard to get to the goal line, to get to the end zone. How do you do that? Execute the play. And you got
Execute
to
the plan.
execute it how it's supposed to be executed. If you can't do that, then you're not, if you can't do that, what's going to happen? You get a loss of downs. You could get sacked, the fumble, whatever the case may be. You got to learn to execute it. With execution, there's
Hmm.
a lot of factors that come into play when it comes to executing the plan. Step by step, brick by brick, all that stuff comes into play when it comes to executing the plan. God's plan.
Hey, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about the football thing real quick.
Come on.
Well, Satan gonna make you fumble that ball,
What? I'm
but it's
telling
also
you.
but it's also a such thing as fumble recovery too. So anytime you fumble the ball, go ahead and dive for it. You got to dive to get that ball back. You take it back. That's redemption when you taking it back. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? The devil, he's the opponent. He gonna strip the ball out your hand. Or you might throw an interception or they call it a pick six. But guess what? You get that ball back and you get possession. You gotta get possession back. And when you get possession back, then you go ahead and get down to the end zone, like you said, and then you go ahead and finish the play, and that's a touchdown. The goal is to get to the touchdown and win the game. Not farming the ball, not throw an interception and give it back to the devil. Because that's what he wants you to do. He wants you to lose in the situation.
man, what? I'm telling you, it's just like playing the game. They look, you throw that ball, you gotta have QB vision. Because there's a difference between sight and vision. There's a difference
Yep.
because we have sight with our eyes, with our physical eyes. But when it comes to vision, you see something that other people may not see. You see
Yep.
the bigger picture. You see
Yep.
something ahead that other people may not see because they're using their physical sight. But when it comes to spiritual sight and vision, it goes deeper than that. It goes way deeper than that. It's the same way with QB vision. You see something that the other teammates may not see. But you, the quarterback, you see something, you got to execute it right. If the coach
Yep.
tells you to run a certain play, you got to run a certain play, execute it how it should be, how you practiced it in practice, how you did it in practice. You should execute it that way in the game. Yeah, you're gonna come up against teams that are gonna try to derail you, who are gonna throw you off, that's gonna try to distract you. That's gonna try everything in their power to stop you, to sack you, to fumble, to force fumble the ball, to get the ball back from you. But what you cannot do is give them the satisfaction of allowing that to happen. That's why you have to execute it right.
Boy, say that again. Say that again.
Let me tell you
It,
something. You can't see here. There'll be people who's going to try to derail you, who's going to try to force fumble, who's going to try to make you intercept the ball, who's going to go man on you and try to cover you. But here's the problem. You allow that to happen, they get the ball back, they run it down the field, and they end up scoring. What happens? You feel defeated. You're upset with yourself because you allowed that to happen because you were not prepared. Now, here's the thing. You're gonna come across different people that's gonna, be bigger than you, be stronger than you, anything like that. That's just a part of it. But here's the thing, God is bigger than any situation that you deal with. He's bigger than any downfall. He's bigger than any circumstance that you encounter.
Mhm,
You just have to
mhm.
believe that. Because if you want his plan to be executed the way it should be, you have to trust the process. You have to trust that it's going to work out, and sometimes we have those doubts. Who doesn't have doubts? We have those doubts ourselves from time to time. We're human. We're not perfect. I don't expect nobody to be perfect. I don't expect myself to be perfect. But here's the thing, we do our best with what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Start with what you have, use what you got, and do your very best with what you have until God can prepare to bless you with more so he can prepare you to do more with what he gives you. But he can't bless you with more if you don't use what you already have.
Ooh, wee. I'll tell you one thing about it. God is our biggest redeemer,
Mm-hmm.
but guess who our biggest killer? Us. Self. Self. Self-doubt.
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotaging, all of those good things. We kill ourselves when it comes down to our own redemption. God ready
Mm-hmm.
to help us redeem what we lost. But you know what I'm saying? We want that Job lifestyle, man, but we ain't got the faith like Job. So, like, Job is a prime example, man. Job lost everything that he possessed.
Mm-hmm.
Job lost everything. And
Mm-hmm.
people want him to lose his faith with God. But God is the biggest redeemer of them all. And when he, put his foot down and told him, I ain't giving up on God. I know God gonna bless me. With whatever I lost, he gonna bless me with 10 times more. And guess what happened? He did. So if we can all just, what I'm saying, live that Job lifestyle, man, understand that it's not over with. It ain't the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? It's a temporary hurt. That hurt gonna cut deep. It ain't gonna lie. It's gonna cut deep.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a permanent scar for us. That should be a permanent testimony.
Brother, let me, ooh, boy, a testimony, a testimony. What's the first word in there? A test,
Test.
and God's going to prepare. There's going to be all sorts of tests in life. Just like how you study in school for tests and stuff, there'll be some tests that you may not be prepared for. But you know who is going to prepare you? God's going to give you the resources. God's going to give you the source to use to not only take that test, but to pass that test. And
Test.
and here's the thing, sometimes you may fail, and that's a part of it. But fail, it can be an acronym. It's first attempt in learning.
Yep.
And like I said, first attempt in learning. You apply what you learned from when you failed the first time. I'd rather you fail forward. I'd rather you fail forward and move ahead so that way you apply what you learned from previous attempts. Because
Yep.
insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That is insanity. You can't if you keep doing the same thing and nothing keeps changing. What do you need to change? How you do it. How you what? Execute it. You have to
Execute.
change it. Execution is key. Like, come on, man. Like, some people need to understand that. Like, how you do it, how you execute the plan, how God wants you to execute the plan is very crucial. I like how you mentioned Job. For a lot of men, we want to be a Job 31 man. You've heard the Proverbs 31 woman.
Mm-hmm.
Want to be a Job 31 man, a man of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, like you said, Job lost everything. He lost everything, but he didn't lose faith in God because at the end of the
Right.
day, all the things that he lost pale in comparison to what God can do for him. Because God can restore, God can redeem. The Bible says, "Let the redeemed of the Lord say so." God can redeem. He can restore. He can help you get back to a place much better than you ever imagined. But you have
Right.
to trust his plan, trust his playbook, trust his process at the end of the day because he knows what's best. He knows what's best.
And that's the thing with us in this world, man.
Mm-hmm.
God has the best playbook that it ever be made. He's the best playmaker out of all creation. But when we try to turn around and trump his plays, guess what? We get intercepted every time. We
Man.
lose the ball every time. We flagrant. In basketball, we're gonna call that a flagrant because now you just intentionally going against God's will and God's plan and think that your plan is gonna be better than everybody else. No. He gonna show you what it's like to be flagrant. So you
Yeah.
gotta you gotta steer clear on things that you know that you really want and desire in your life, man. Know that God in every situation, God got to be the center of it. In your relationship, God got to be the center of it. You trying
Mm-hmm.
to, make amends of a broken relationship. Well, guess what? You trying to redeem that broken relationship. Guess who got to be in the center of it? God. Okay. You trying to come back to school after you gonna failed out. and you had a zero GPA and you trying to recover your GPA and your financial aid, guess who got to help you recover that? God. you know, say you lost your house and you want to bounce back and get into a place where if it's a small apartment or a house that's not as big as yours, but it's something to put a roof over your head, guess who can help you recover that? God. So everything that we do, man, we trying to go through our redemption phase, man. We gotta have God in the center of it. If we ain't got God in the center of it, guess what? We back at ground zero. We
Boy,
back at ground zero.
talk about that ground zero. I'm telling you, that's the place that I don't wish anybody to be in is ground zero. We all have been in ground zero at some point. We've all been at the lowest of lows, the lowest valleys. I mean, we have all been down and out. Like literally in whatever kind of situation that you've been in, we've all been in it. But it's all about how you can bounce back from it, how you can find redemption, your redemption story. Because at the end of the day, your redemption story may be needed to be heard by somebody else. How your
Yes,
redemption story ended, that person may need to hear that because they may
yes,
be in a place in the lowest of those, and they need to find out how did you find redemption? How did your redemption story go? How did you turn your test into your testimony? How did you turn your mess into your message? How did you turn that battle into a blessing? And how in the world? And then you ask this question too. How did God turn you from a victim to
to
a
a
victim?
bit.
Like, no, man, like people will ask those kind of questions. They look at your story, they look at you, they see how you operate, how you move, and I give the same answer. God. At the end of the day, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am. Yeah, every some days are easier than others, but who doesn't have those kind of days? But at God, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't have what I have right now. I wouldn't have the people in my life that are still in my life for a reason instead of a season. Even for the people who are there for a season, I'm thankful because God showed me something at the end of the day.
Yup,
So
yup.
how do you want your redemption story to end? How do you want your redemption story to end? Because it's up to you on how you want it to end. You just got to ask yourself, how do you want it to end? How do you want it to go? Do you want to end on a high note? Do you want to end on a low note? Do you want to end with a touchdown? Or do you want to end with a fumble or interception? Do you want to end with a W? Or do you want to end with an L? And we all take L's at some point, but turn those L's into lessons. As long as you
Yeah,
do that, apply moving forward. You good. You Gucci after that.
yes. Turn your L's into a lesson so you can turn your W's into wisdom. So, so you know what I'm saying? Learn lessons give you learn lessons give you great blessings around here. Let me say that one more time. Let me say it one more time.
Say it again.
Learn lessons give you great blessings, man.
I'm about to
I'm
throw the
telling
towel
you
over here,
right
boy.
now.
Boy, boy, you about to throw the towel over here, boy. Say that. Say that. Say that again.
I'm gonna say that one more time. I'm gonna
Oh,
say it one more time. Learn lessons equal great blessings. You gotta go and learn your lessons before you can be able to have a blessing and share your blessing to other people, man. Got to, because
wait.
it's no other way around it. It's no other way around it. Redemption requires learned lessons. It
Lord have
requires it.
mercy. Boy, I don't know if y'all heard him. He done said something just he said turn your L's into lessons and turn your W's into wisdom. He said those learned lessons turn into great blessings. I was like, oh boy, you about to make me run around this room, Perry. I need an organ. Give me a beef lad. I need an organ, man. 'Cause you about to take it be the church, man. You take it be the church.
Hey, hey, got to. Somebody need to hear it, man. Somebody going through a struggle right now that they don't know the answers. They don't know the
Man,
source. They don't know the resources. So we here to deliver those resources, man. Don't worry about what your past taught you, man. Don't let your past dictate who you are for your present and your future. You know who
mm,
God is. God knows who you are. God knows your heart. God knows your mind. God knows your spirit. All you got to do is just bounce back, execute on your bounce back. Because when you execute on your bounce back, nobody can tell you anything differently. But when somebody tell you something differently and they execute on your fall back, then you let them get the upper hand.
boy. And this is your bounce back season. This is your bounce back season. This is your season of redemption. This is your time. This is your time to get what's yours. What's meant for you is meant for you at the
Good
end
for
of the
you.
day. Like some closed doors, those are just opportunities for other doors to be opened that are meant just for you at the end of the day. This is your bounce back season, like we said. You want to bounce back or do you want to fall back? The only time I want to fall back is with daylight savings time. Hello.
Hello, somebody. Hello,
That's the
somebody.
only time I want to fall back is daylight saving time where I can gain an hour of sleep. That's the only time I want to fall back. Hello. Come on.
Hello, somebody.
Knock, knock, open wide. Like, man, I'm telling y'all, we're telling you this for a reason because we've been through it ourselves. We've experienced this ourselves. Heck, we just still deal with it now from time to time. Like
Right.
learning our bounce back season. We have multiple bounce back seasons. Let's be honest. We have multiple
Yeah,
of them in
yeah.
college, after college, grad school, everything. Like we're doing all we can. Some people are trying to get back to where they want to be. They may not be where they want to be right now, but thank God you're not where you used to be.
Used to be
Because at the end
correct.
of the day, growth is growth at the end of the day. And we just want to be able to grow into the people that God called us to be. And that requires that's you're gonna inquire some testing times. You're gonna go through some hard times, some hardships, if you will. But you know what? At the end of the day, you gotta steer that ship. You gotta steer that. Let go. You know what? Let God steer the ship. Let God be the one behind the wheel. You know how they say God take Jesus take the wheel. Let God take
Yep,
the wheel. Let Him lead you. Let Him direct you where He needs you to go. You just gotta follow. Because in order to be a good leader, you gotta be a good follower.
yep,
And God's trying to build some good leaders, trying to build some good soldiers out here. But you got to be a good follower. You got to follow his word. You got to be obedient. You got to trust in him, be totally dependent on him, less of us, more of him. You got to be totally dependent on him because at the end of the day, he has the final say so. He has the final say so at the end of the day. No matter what the enemy tries to do, God has the final say so. God will have the last word at the end of the day. Satan could try all his tricks all day long, and Satan's gonna try. Heck, Satan tried on this podcast. This is the third time we're starting this record because Satan tried
yep,
it. But you know what? God said, not today. God said, do not touch my anointed. That's what the Bible says. That is the truth. I'm telling you, because there is a reason why my boy Perry brought up the topic of redemption to me before we started this episode, because he had it, God placed that on his heart for a reason because we all needed to hear it. I needed to hear it myself. And you know what's crazy? When God gives you something, he gives it to you for you first. And
hmm
then at the right appointed time, he tells you to spread this message, to spread my message to
hmm
everybody else, to other people who need to hear it and who need to hear it. The right people will hear it, and the right people will take from it. They will take
hmm
from it from what they've learned and they will apply it moving forward. They will be grateful for what they've heard because they can apply it moving forward. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm preaching, but like, people just have to understand. This is your season. This is your season of redemption. If you're in the time of hardships right now, you're dealing with so much, you're in an emotional breakdown, you feel like you're in depression mode and everything like that. Trouble don't last always. Trouble do not
It
last
does
always.
not.
That is just temporary. The enemy's trying so hard to keep you down. But guess what? You may be down, but you're not out. You're not out. You didn't strike out, because at the end of the day, God got the final say so. You still up at bat. You got to swing for the fences and swing as hard as you can. Go for a grand slam. Bam.
Yeah. Right out. Baseball get more opportunity now. See, them baseball players strike out numerous times. How they one
Mm-mm. Child. Satan, I see what you doing. It ain't finna work. Satan, it ain't finna work.
I see it. There we go. We ain't gonna let that once again.
Nope,
Say
we ain't gonna let that stop this. We ain't gonna
don't
let
let
this stop the motion.
the stop.
See, Satan is trying. Satan is trying so hard.
He
Satan is trying in the middle of this. But you know what? Satan ain't finna stop the
will
motion of the ocean. He ain't finna
never.
stop it. Like God's gonna have to find a say so. Enemy just love trying his tricks. The enemy just love trying all these technical difficulties and stuff. The enemy just loves trying. But you know what? I'm grateful because God, at the end of the day, God knows that this message is gonna get out to somebody. One way or another, this
Yeah,
message is gonna get to somebody. So Satan's
yeah,
trying, but God's gonna this message getting out today. I don't care. This message, even if we gotta make some edits, this message is going out to this message is going out. And they know what's up. They know what's up. You already know the plan. So Satan, you can keep trying, but it ain't working. It ain't working. It ain't working. It ain't working.
it's not. It's not gonna work. It's
Let
not
the
gonna
re-
work for you, Playboy.
let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Redemption.
Redemption.
Lord have mercy. Let me tell y'all something. This is just a redemption. This is your redemption story, man. And I just want y'all to know, we just want you to know that your bounce back season is here. Your bounce back season is coming. What you have to understand, what you have to understand, you're gonna go through some technical issues. You're gonna go
Yes.
through some technicalities. But you know what? Don't let those technical issues stop you from doing what God called you to do. Don't let it stop you from doing what God asked you to do. Don't let it stop you. Don't let keep it going, man. That's the moral of the story here. Your redemption is coming. Your bounce back season is coming. Learn lessons, turn into great blessings.
Great blessings.
Great blessings. I mean great blessings. Like, let me tell you something. This is just it's just great. Doing stuff like this, it helps me out. It helps my boy Perry out. It helps us all out. And we are just here. We're just grateful. And I'm just grateful to be doing this with my brother. So I appreciate my brother, one, for God giving him the vision, and two, for allowing me to be a part of it, my brother. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. Like I said, I'm gonna just say one more thing, man. Like you said, man, don't let your don't let your setbacks don't let your setbacks deter you from your future, man. Don't let someone because people going down you, things are gonna down you, people are gonna talk about you, people gonna try to talk talk outside of your name, gonna try to slander you or everything. But guess what? Slander them with your testimony. That's how we gonna slander people. Slander them with your testimony, slander them with your bounce backs. Because at the end of the day, they words don't mean nothing to you. Because at the end of the day, like you said, God got the final say. And God told you to stand up on your 10 toes and keep going. I'm here with you. Don't worry about what they say. I,
Mm, man. Ooh, Jesus. Yeah, see, Satan is trying. Yeah, see, I'm telling you. Satan gonna keep trying, but you know what, Satan? I'm gonna need you to do me a favor, Satan, and stay in your place. Stay in
stay in
your
your
place.
lane.
Stay in your lane because Satan ain't gonna win today. He's not gonna win today. He's not gonna win at
No,
all. God will always get in God we have the victory at the end of the day. But just know we love you guys and we want you guys to know that you're gonna bounce back from whatever situation you're dealing with. It's all gonna work out. It's all gonna work out in his timing because his timing is
mm-hmm.
perfect. He may not come when you
Mm-hmm.
want him to, but he's always on time. Always
Mm-hmm.
on time. So, what's your redemption story? What does it look like? How do you want your redemption story to end at the end of the day? How do you want it to end? You got to ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that. Ask, pray to God that He can help you in your redemption. And trust me, your story is needed. Somebody needs to hear your story.
They do.
Heck, we may need to hear it ourselves. We may need to hear the story ourselves. So keep holding on, man. Keep holding on. I
Yeah.
promise you, it's gonna be worth it in the very end. It's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it, man. And with that being said, man, as always, this is your boy Sylvester, aka Sly.
And this is your boy Perry, aka Mr. Ambitious.
Hey man, we appreciate y'all, man, from Sly and Mr. Ambitious himself. We thank you guys for tuning in, man. We love you guys. Stay tuned, man, because the next episode, we ain't gonna have no technical difficulties because Satan ain't finna try to stir nothing in here. He's trying to stir the pot in here. But you know what? Satan
Mhm.
can't cook. Satan can't cook like we cooking.
So can't.
Look, he could try to steal the recipe, but the sauce won't taste the same.
It sure would not.
Hey, y'all be ready because the sauce we cooking up is gonna be some. It's gonna be some. Hey, stay tuned for the fun,
Hmm.
man. We love y'all, man. Y'all be safe and see y'all in the next episode, man.
Yeah, man, we love you.
Love y'all.